Asador Veltak walked into the giant meeting hall where leaders from across the galaxy sat in silence. The air felt heavy with worry and fear. Above them, floating images showed the terrible remains of what used to be the most powerful war fleet anyone had ever seen. Broken pieces of massive warships drifted through empty space like twisted metal sculptures. What were once proud battle cruisers now looked like someone had crumpled them up like paper balls. Fighter jets that could destroy entire cities were nothing more than glowing scraps floating in the darkness. "Look at this mess," Veltak said, his voice shaking slightly. The Vorthan Empire brought everything they had to attack one small planet called Earth, 12 complete battle fleets, the strongest warriors in the galaxy, ships that could blow up moons, all of it gone in just 3 days. The other council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some had tentacles that twitched nervously. Others had multiple eyes that blinked rapidly. The hall that usually buzzed with confident chatter was now deadly quiet. Their war computer was supposed to be unbeatable. Veltak continued, pulling up more images. It could calculate battle strategies faster than any living mind, but halfway through the fight it just stopped working. When we found the survivors, they were hiding in their own medical rooms, too scared to come out. A council member with blue skin raised a clawed hand. "What did the survivors tell you?" "Impossible things," Veltak replied. "They said the humans somehow turned the Vorthan weapons against them. They claimed human soldiers kept fighting even when they should have been dead. Some survivors refused to talk at all. They just stared at nothing and whispered about the humans who wouldn't stay down." Dr. Veltar, a scientist who studied different alien species, slowly stood up. Her long tentacles moved gracefully as she spoke. "My fellow council members, maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. This is the 7th time someone has tried to conquer Earth. Every single attack has failed completely." "7 failures," muttered Admiral Torgax, a massive creature with armor-like skin. "The Krex Dominion lasted 4 days. The Mordak swarm made it 6 days. The Nexus Coalition thought they were clever and attacked from multiple directions. They were destroyed in 2 days." Dr. Veltar nodded. "Exactly. Each attacking force had better technology than humans, stronger weapons, faster ships, more soldiers. Yet every single one was not just defeated, but completely destroyed. Maybe the answer isn't about what weapons the humans have." "Then what is it?" demanded Torgax, slamming his massive fist on the metal table. The sound echoed through the hall, like thunder. "They must have some secret weapon we haven't discovered yet, some hidden technology they're not showing us. Or," Dr. Veltar said quietly, "maybe the humans themselves are the weapon." The hall erupted in angry voices. Council members from different worlds started arguing loudly. Some said humans were just lucky. Others believed they had help from unknown allies. A few suggested the attacks had been poorly planned, but Dr. Veltar had spent years studying the reports from each failed invasion. She had read every survivor account, analyzed every piece of wreckage, studied every battle recording. There was a pattern that nobody else wanted to see. "Listen to me," she said, her voice cutting through the noise. "I want to go to Earth myself, not to attack but to study, to watch, to understand how one small planet keeps defeating the strongest forces in the galaxy." Admiral Torgax laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You want to visit the planet that has destroyed 7 invasion fleets. That's suicide." "No," Dr. Veltar replied calmly. "I want to go peacefully, make contact, learn their secrets before we make the same mistake 8 times. The council chamber fell silent again. The idea of actually talking to humans instead of attacking them was shocking to most of the members. For centuries, the galaxy had been controlled by the strong taking from the weak. The idea that the seemingly weak humans might have something to teach them was almost impossible to believe. "What if they attack you?" asked a council member with multiple heads. "Then we'll learn something important about how they fight," Dr. Veltar answered. "But what if they don't? What if we finally get answers about why they're so impossible to defeat?" Ambassador Veltak looked at the floating images of destroyed ships one more time. "The vote is simple. Do we send Dr. Veltar to study the humans, or do we prepare for another invasion that will probably fail like all the others?" The vote was unanimous. Dr. Veltar would go to Earth. None of them realized they were about to discover that humanity's Greatest weapon wasn't technology or strength. It was something far more dangerous than any weapon ever built. Dr. Veltar's research ship suddenly appeared near Earth, coming out of the strange blue tunnel that connected distant parts of space. She had ordered all weapons to be turned off and powered down, expecting Earth's mighty defenses to immediately surround them with deadly force. But nothing happened. Instead of massive space fortresses bristling with weapons, she saw only a few old satellites slowly spinning around the planet. Instead of energy shields that could stop entire fleets, there were just simple metal objects floating in orbit. The communication signals coming from Earth weren't military threats or demands to surrender. They were basic, almost primitive messages welcoming visitors. "This can't be right," Dr. Veltar whispered to her crew. "Where are all the defenses? Where are the superweapons that destroyed 7 invasion fleets?" Her science officer, a creature with 4 eyes and green skin, checked the instruments again. "The readings are correct, Doctor. We're detecting nuclear weapons, but they're old technology. Some of their satellites look like they were built decades ago. There's no sign of the advanced weapons we expected." Dr. Veltar stared out at the blue and white planet below them. Earth looked so peaceful, so ordinary. It was hard to believe. This small world had become the graveyard for the galaxy's most powerful military forces. Then a human ship approached them. It wasn't the massive warship Dr. Veltar had expected. It was medium-sized, painted in calm colors, and most surprisingly, it was flying white flags. White flags meant peace in many cultures across the galaxy. "Unknown vessels," came a voice over their communication system. It was steady and friendly, not the harsh military command Dr. Veltar had prepared for. "This is Captain Kim Jiho of the Earth Defense Ship Harmony. We welcome peaceful contact with your people. Please respond if you wish to establish dialogue and meet face-to-face." Dr. Veltar looked at her crew in amazement. After 7 devastating defeats of alien invasion forces, the humans were still willing to talk peacefully with unknown aliens. Either they were incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. "Should we respond, Doctor?" asked her communications officer. "Yes," Dr. Veltar decided. "Tell them we come in peace to learn about their world." The meeting was arranged on a neutral space, station that humans had quickly built just for this purpose. Dr. Veltar was impressed by how fast they had constructed it, but the station itself was simple and functional rather than threatening. Captain Kim Jiho was a normal-looking human, with dark hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple uniform without excessive military decorations. With him came Commander Park Sua, a woman who seemed alert and intelligent, Engineer Lee Minho, who kept quietly studying the alien technology, and Dr. Han Yuna, who appeared to be some kind of scientist like herself. "Welcome to our solar system," Captain Kim said with a genuine smile. "We're honored to meet another intelligent species peacefully. It's not something that happens very often." Dr. Veltar felt confused by their casual attitude. "Captain Kim, aren't you concerned that we might be dangerous? Our ships are much more advanced than yours." Captain Kim exchanged glances with his team. "We've learned that technology isn't everything in a conflict. Would you like to know about Earth's history? We'd be happy to share our experiences." What happened next shocked Dr. Veltar completely. The humans began showing detailed records of their own wars with each other. They talked about massive conflicts that had killed millions of their own people. They discussed battle strategies, weapon developments, and military tactics, with the same casual tone someone might use to discuss the weather. "Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years," Dr. Han Yuna explained, pulling up holographic displays of ancient battlefields. "We've had 2 massive world wars where almost every nation on Earth was involved, countless smaller conflicts, civil wars, revolutionary wars, wars over resources, territory, ideas, and beliefs." "Fascinating to study, really," Captain Kim added, scrolling through battle reports on his tablet. "Each conflict taught us something new about warfare, strategy, and survival. We keep detailed records of everything." Dr. Veltar's tentacles twitched nervously. Most species tried to hide their military weaknesses and past defeats, but humans were openly sharing their most devastating failures and losses. Commander Park Sua laughed softly. "Our wars with each other were far more brutal and creative, than anything the galaxy has thrown at us so far. We've already faced every type of warfare imaginable. Engineer Lee Minho spoke up quietly. Each alien invasion has been interesting to analyze. Different technologies, different approaches. We learn something new each time. Dr. Veltar felt a chill run through her body. There was something in their eyes that wasn't fear or respect for superior alien technology. It was anticipation, like students who were eager to learn from a new teacher, like scientists who had just discovered a fascinating new subject to study. "You're not afraid of us," she realized. "Should we be?" Captain Kim asked simply. That's when Dr. Veltar understood that she might have made a terrible mistake. She hadn't come to study Earth's defenses. She had come to meet the teachers who had been educating themselves with every alien attack, and now they were very eager to learn what her people might teach them next. Dr. Veltar couldn't sleep properly for weeks. Every day she spent hours going through the twisted metal remains of destroyed alien warships, trying to understand what had gone wrong. But the real answers came from talking to the survivors, the few aliens who had somehow escaped Earth alive. She set up quantum communication, links to reach survivors scattered across the galaxy. Most of them were in medical facilities, still recovering from injuries that weren't just physical. Many refused to talk at all. The ones who did speak often started crying or shaking when they remembered what happened on Earth. General Kolvar, of the Krex Dominion, was one of the first to agree to an interview. He had once been a proud military leader who had conquered 12 different worlds. Now his voice trembled as he spoke through the communication device. "Doctor, we thought it would be easy," he began, his insect-like mandibles clicking nervously. "Earth's military fought us for maybe 6 hours. We destroyed their air force. We knocked out their communication systems. Their armies scattered and ran away. We landed in their major cities and took control of government buildings." Dr. Veltar took notes carefully. "That sounds like a normal invasion so far. What happened next?" "That's when everything went wrong," General Kolvar continued, his voice getting quieter. "We expected the humans to surrender. That's what every other species does when their military is defeated. But these humans, they just changed tactics." "What do you mean?" "Regular people started fighting us. Not soldiers. Ordinary citizens. Old people, young people, even children. They came out of buildings we thought were empty and attacked our patrols. A human child, maybe 10 years old, threw some kind of explosive device at one of our tanks. When our soldiers tried to help their wounded, mothers would appear from nowhere with weapons." Dr. Veltar felt her tentacles curl with unease. "Surely your superior technology gave you an advantage." General Kolvar made a sound that might have been bitter laughter. "They turned our own technology against us. Somehow they figured out how our weapons worked and started using them. We found human fighters using our own energy rifles to attack our positions. They stole our vehicles and crashed them into our command centers. But your soldiers were trained professionals." "It didn't matter," the general interrupted. "These humans kept fighting even when they should have been dead. I saw a human soldier with a severed arm continue to fire a weapon with his remaining hand. Another one, bleeding from multiple wounds, used his own blood to blind our sensors, while his friends attacked from behind." Dr. Veltar had to pause the interview. The description was too disturbing to process easily. She had studied warfare across dozens of species, but she had never heard of anything like this. The next interview was with Commander Xanthi of the Mordak Swarm. His species was known for being fearless in battle, but he could barely speak without his voice shaking. "The humans captured 3 of our assault ships on the 2nd day," he said. "We thought they would try to escape in them or study our technology. Instead, they loaded the ships with explosives and flew them directly into our main fleet. 3 of our own ships became suicide weapons. That's not normal military strategy," Dr. Veltar said. "Nothing about fighting humans is normal," Commander Xanthi replied. "On the 3rd day, we watched human mothers strap explosives to themselves and run at our defensive positions. Not soldiers, mothers protecting their children. The wounded humans crawled out of medical areas to continue fighting. Some of them were missing legs but still tried to attack us with whatever they could find." "How did your warriors react?" "By the 3rd day, most of my fighters were too terrified to leave their ships. These weren't professional soldiers we were fighting. These were ordinary people who refused to give up. My warriors had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never faced anything like this. Dr. Veltar began to see a terrible pattern. Every invasion had followed the same stages. First, the aliens would easily defeat Earth's official military forces. The humans would appear to surrender or retreat. Then, when the invaders thought they had won, the real fighting would begin. But it wasn't just random violence. The more interviews Dr. Veltar conducted, the more she realized that humans were learning from each attack. They studied alien technology during the fighting and quickly figured out how to use it against the invaders. They adapted their tactics in real time, becoming more effective as each battle continued. During a cultural exchange event with Captain Kim and his team, Dr. Veltar used her medical scanners to study human biology. What she discovered was terrifying. When humans faced extreme stress or danger, their bodies didn't just prepare for fight or flight like most species. Their stress hormones actually made them stronger, faster, and more focused. Their heart rate increased, pumping more oxygen to their muscles. Their pain sensitivity decreased, allowing them to continue fighting despite injuries that would disable most other creatures. Your people seem to handle stress differently than other species, Dr. Veltar mentioned carefully. Dr. Han Yuna nodded. Humans have always lived with danger. Our planet tried to kill us regularly. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, natural disasters. The ones who survived were the ones who could adapt quickly and keep going no matter what. What other species call trauma, Captain Kim added, we call experience. What others consider torture, we consider training. Every challenge teaches us something new about survival. That's when Dr. Veltar realized the horrible truth. Earth hadn't been defending itself against 7 invasion attempts. Earth had been learning from them. Each attack had taught humans more about alien technology, alien tactics, and alien weaknesses. The humans weren't just surviving the invasions. They were studying them like educational opportunities. And with each lesson, they were becoming more dangerous. The dinner invitation aboard the human ship felt like a friendly gesture, but Dr. Veltar was beginning to understand that everything humans did had deeper meaning. The dining room was simple and comfortable, with soft lighting and the smell of cooked food that was surprisingly pleasant to her alien senses. Dr. Han Yuna poured a dark liquid into small glasses for everyone. This is called wine, she explained with a smile. Humans have been making fermented beverages for thousands of years. It helps us relax and share stories. As they ate, the conversation started casually. Dr. Han Yuna began talking about Earth's history as if she were discussing the weather, but what she said made Dr. Veltar's blood run cold. How you know Earth has tried to kill us so many times over the millions of years, Dr. Han Yuna said, laughing as if it were a funny memory. Ice ages that lasted for thousands of years, covering most of our planet in frozen wasteland. Volcanic winters that blocked out the sun for decades. Asteroid impacts that wiped out most life on Earth. Supervolcanic eruptions that poisoned the air and water. She pulled up holographic images showing a planet covered in ice, then burning with volcanic fire, then dark with ash-filled skies. Scientists say humans nearly went completely extinct at least 6 times. There were periods when fewer than 10,000 humans existed on the entire planet. Dr. Veltar set down her eating utensil. How did your species survive such disasters? We adapted, Dr. Han Yuna replied simply. Each time Earth tried to kill us, the survivors figured out how to live in the new conditions. We learned to hunt in frozen wastelands. We developed tools to dig shelter in volcanic rock. We found ways to grow food in poisoned soil. Captain Kim leaned forward, his eyes bright with what Dr. Veltar was beginning to recognize as excitement about challenges. The interesting thing is that we didn't just survive these disasters, we became stronger because of them. He showed images of ancient human settlements, small groups of people living in impossible conditions, but not just surviving, thriving. Humans building homes in Arctic conditions that would kill most species. Humans farming in deserts where nothing should grow. Humans sailing across vast oceans in tiny boats. Look at this, Dr. Han Yuna said, displaying pictures of ancient battlefields. This is from a place called Stalingrad, where humans fought each other in winter conditions for months. Temperatures so cold that weapons would freeze and break. Soldiers fought in bombed-out buildings for every room, every floor, every staircase. The images showed humans fighting in conditions that looked like the frozen hell planets Dr. Veltar had heard about in scary stories. But these humans weren't just surviving. They were organized, determined, and effective. Here's another interesting example, Captain Kim added, showing a tiny island surrounded by ocean. A few hundred warriors held off an invasion force of over 100,000 soldiers for days. They knew they couldn't win, but they fought anyway because it would give their people time to prepare. Why would they do that? Dr. Veltar asked, though she was beginning to fear the answer. Because that's what humans do when we're threatened, Commander Park Sua replied matter-of-factly. We fight. Even when we know we can't win, we fight. To buy time, to learn something useful, or just to make the enemy pay a price for victory. Dr. Han Yuna laughed again, but now the sound made Dr. Veltar nervous. We even domesticated wolves by being more pack-oriented than they were. Think about that. We took the most dangerous predators on our planet and turned them into loyal companions by being better at teamwork than they were. We conquered fire by being more persistent than the elements, Captain Kim added. We didn't just learn to use fire. We learned to create it, control it, and use it as a tool for everything from cooking food to forging metal. Dr. Veltar's medical instruments had been quietly scanning the humans throughout dinner. What they showed her was the most terrifying discovery of her scientific career. When humans faced stress or danger, their bodies didn't just prepare for survival like other species. Their biological systems actually optimized for combat. Their heart rate increased dramatically, pumping oxygen-rich blood to their muscles. Adrenaline flooded their systems, making them faster and stronger than their normal capabilities. Cortisol sharpened their focus and reduced their sensitivity to pain. Most horrifying of all, fear didn't make humans weaker or more likely to flee. Terror literally made them more dangerous. Your stress response system is unlike anything I've studied, Dr. Veltar said carefully. Oh, that, Dr. Han Yuna replied casually. Yes, humans get stronger under pressure. It's probably why we survived all those extinction events. When things get bad, we don't give up. We get better at dealing with the problem. Commander Park Sua pulled up holographic displays showing recent Earth military activities. Would you like to see what we've been doing since the alien attack started? The images showed human children in schools studying detailed battle recordings from each invasion, military academies where young humans learned alien combat tactics, research, facilities where human scientists reverse-engineered, captured alien technology. After each attack, we analyze every weapon used against us, every strategy, every weakness we can find, Commander Park explained. Our children study these battles like they're studying mathematics or history. Every invasion teaches us something new about galactic warfare. We have detailed records of all 7 attacks, Captain Kim added. We know how each alien species thinks, how they fight, what their technology can do, and most importantly, how to defeat them. Dr. Veltar felt her tentacles go numb with realization. You're not just defending your planet, you're studying us. Every species that has attacked Earth has taught us something valuable, Dr. Han Yuna confirmed. The Krek's Dominion showed us energy weapon technology. The Mordak Swarm taught us about hive mind tactics. Each invasion has been like attending a military academy run by the galaxy's best teachers. That's when Dr. Veltar understood the horrible truth. The 7 invasions hadn't been attacks on Earth that humans had barely survived. They had been Earth's education system. Humans had been learning galactic warfare from the best military forces in the galaxy, and now they were ready to graduate. Dr. Veltar's emergency transport ship cut through space at maximum speed, carrying perhaps the most important intelligence report in galactic history. The alien scientist's multiple appendages worked frantically at her research station, compiling data that would either save the galaxy or doom it to an unwinnable war. Her findings were terrifying in their implications. The bio-readings she had collected during humanity's latest defensive battle showed clear evidence of rapid physical adaptation. Human soldiers were demonstrating enhanced reflexes, improved coordination, and stress resistance that exceeded baseline measurements from previous encounters by significant margins. But the physical changes were nothing compared to the tactical evolution. Dr. Veltar's analysis revealed adaptation patterns that defied every known model of military learning. Most species required decades to adjust their doctrines after major defeats. Humans were incorporating new strategies and countermeasures within weeks of each encounter. The psychological profiles were perhaps the most disturbing aspect of her research. Every human captured for study, from soldiers to civilians, demonstrated the same unshakable characteristic: an absolute refusal to accept defeat as permanent. They viewed every loss as temporary, every setback as a learning opportunity, and every attack on their world as training for the next level of warfare. Upon reaching the Galactic Council chambers, Dr. Veltar requested an emergency session with the military leadership of all 12 member species. The vast assembly hall filled quickly as admirals, generals, and strategic commanders gathered to hear her report. "Honored leaders," she began, her voice carrying the weight of genuine fear, "we must immediately classify humanity as a Tier 1 extinction threat. This is not a recommendation based on their current capabilities, but on their demonstrated potential for unlimited warfare evolution." The hall erupted in dismissive chittering, clicking, and various other sounds of alien skepticism. Admiral Torgax, the hegemonian military commander, stood up with obvious contempt written across his scaled features. "Dr. Veltar, you're asking us to fear a single primitive planet," he announced, his voice carrying the arrogance of someone who had never faced a truly dangerous enemy. "The combined might of 12 advanced civilizations cannot be threatened by one small world of upstart mammals." But Dr. Veltar pressed on, activating holographic displays that showed the progression of human defensive capabilities over 2 centuries of intermittent warfare. "You're not seeing the pattern. Each attack has made them more dangerous, not weaker. They don't just survive our assaults, they perfect their responses to them." The evidence was undeniable when presented in sequence. The first human defenders had fought with crude projectile weapons and basic tactics. The most recent encounters showed them using captured alien technology, implementing complex multidimensional strategies, and demonstrating battlefield coordination that rival species took millennia to develop. "They're not defending their world in the traditional sense," Dr. Veltar explained desperately. "They're using us to train their entire species for galactic warfare. Every attack teaches them something new about how we fight, how we think, and most importantly, how we can be defeated." Admiral Torgax waved dismissively at the data displays. "Impossible. The Grand Armada is already assembled. 5,000 ships, representing the finest vessels from all member worlds. 3 million warriors trained in conquest. Weapons, powerful, enough to crack moons and boil oceans. One primitive planet cannot stand against such overwhelming force." "How you don't understand what you're facing," Dr. Veltar insisted, her voice rising with desperation. "Humans don't fight wars to win territories or claim resources like the rest of us. They fight wars to ensure their species never faces extinction again. And we've been teaching them exactly how to fight us for 2 centuries. The assembled military leaders remained unconvinced, their confidence built on millennia of successful conquests against species that followed predictable patterns of resistance and eventual surrender. None of them could imagine a civilization that grew stronger through defeat rather than weaker. As the council session ended with Dr. Veltar's warnings dismissed, her research ship prepared to depart Earth's system for the final time. She had done everything possible to prevent the coming catastrophe, but the galaxy's leadership had chosen pride over prudence. Captain Kim's final transmission reached her ship just as they entered hyperspace. "Dr. Veltar, thank you for the warning about the incoming armada. We appreciate the advance notice. Earth is ready." The casual tone of gratitude in his voice sent chills through her research team. The human military commander wasn't expressing fear or desperation about facing impossible odds. He was thanking her for giving them time to prepare for what they clearly viewed as the next phase of their education in galactic warfare. Across Earth's surface, communication networks blazed with unprecedented activity. Military installations that had remained hidden for decades suddenly activated, revealing defensive capabilities that had been secretly developed between attacks. Civilian populations began mobilizing with the efficiency of a species that had spent generations preparing for exactly this moment. But the most terrifying development was what Dr. Veltar observed in Earth's educational systems. Schools worldwide had begun broadcasting a new curriculum that made her scientific instruments register levels of strategic sophistication that should have been impossible for a species so young. Advanced alien combat tactics, lessons from 7 successful defenses, was being taught to human children as young as 10 years old. The course material included detailed analysis of every species' military doctrine, comprehensive studies of alien psychology and decision-making patterns, and practical exercises in multi-species coordination warfare. In the depths of space, the Grand Armada had begun its final approach to Earth, confident in their overwhelming numerical and technological superiority. 5,000 ships moved in, perfect formation, carrying the combined military might of civilizations that had dominated the galaxy for millennia. They had no idea they weren't flying toward a conquest. They were descending into the lair of the galaxy's most dangerous predator, one that had spent 2 centuries learning exactly how to kill them all. The greatest irony was that humanity was no longer just defending Earth. Dr. Veltar's instruments had detected massive industrial construction in the outer solar system, hidden behind asteroids and camouflaged to look like natural formations. The humans weren't just preparing to survive another attack. They were ready to take the war to the stars, and the galaxy had just delivered the largest training exercise in military history directly to their doorstep.